Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to forget tier lists and we're going to rank chest exercises the right way. Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link down below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I would love to help. All right, if I can speak this morning without stumbling, bumbling, let me just pull this up and get it in the right position here. We'll put my big dumb head down here. So I have a spreadsheet. In this video, I'm going to rank over 50 chest exercises, and I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. But I hope this is interesting, kind of a thought experiment. I'm not trying to create rules saying you can only do this exercise, you can only do that exercise. But I hope some of this information helps you guys think through your choices a little bit. At the end of the day, when we're trying to build a big chest, the key is always to put together a quality selection of exercises. I get a lot of questions about exercises saying, what do you think of this exercise? What do you think of that exercise? And the reality is that one exercise alone doesn't paint the big picture, right? You need to look at a quality selection of exercises or your weekly selection of exercises to gauge the overall impact. All right, so we're going to rank these exercises based on progression opportunity, how much you can actually progress on them. Some exercises have a more limited progression opportunity, meaning you'll hit a hard wall or you just simply can't, you can't do 100-pound dumbbell flies, right? Complexity. We're going to look at how complex the exercise is to learn. Is it pretty easy to learn or master and get right in and attack? Availability. This is going to be relative to your home or commercial gym. Is this something easy to do at a home gym or commercial gym? When we look at availability, it's going to be relative to home or commercial gym. So depending on your situation where you train, things might be a little bit different. Overall impact. We're going to look at the impact of the exercise. You could have two compound exercises, and one of them is just simply more impactful as far as from a growth standpoint. We'll also look at punishment. Is this exercise something that's likely going to dramatically punish you over time as you learn it, as you work through its complexity, as you get really strong on the exercise? Overall enjoyment, which can be a little bit, up to the individual, obviously, but we'll look at the overall enjoyment of the exercise. And I'm going to toss in efficiency. Is this an efficient exercise, or is it something that can really, drain your soul? It take a lot of time, take a lot of energy. You might get a lot out of it, but still, we have to look at efficiency. It could really, really tax you. So, excuse me. We're going to rate each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to rate them basically from a 1 to a 3. We won't go too crazy here, right? So, dumbbell bench press has a great progression opportunity. Okay. The complexity, I don't know. It's not hard to learn how to pick up dumbbells. So that's going to be a 3. 3 is the best possible scenario. 1 is the worst. Availability. Most of us have the availability at the commercial gym to pick up the dumbbells at home. If you have a home gym, most people have some sort of spin locks or whatever these days. So we'll put that as a 3. Overall impact, I think this is great. And we're going to look at this from from a hypertrophy or muscle building standpoint. Dumbbell bench is a really quality, impactful lift. Punishment, is it punishing over the long run? Not really. It's nothing excessive or unusually so. Enjoyment. Do people like this as much as benching? Do people generally get as excited about the dumbbell bench? Not typically. So we're going to rate that in a relative sense. And efficiency. I think this is a very efficient exercise when it comes to hypertrophy. Incline dumbbell bench, kind of the same situation. You can't quite get as strong on the incline dumbbell bench. So we're going to bump that down just a minor notch. Still a quality exercise, not complex. Availability, I'm going to bump that down a notch because sometimes finding a station where you can do them with a seat back that you can adjust in a commercial gym is a little bit trickier. You might not have the proper setup at home. Punishment, not punishing. Enjoyment, I wouldn't rate that as the highest. And efficiency, I would rate this slightly below the dumbbell bench. Still a really good exercise, but not quite as efficient. So let me just carry my formula down here. So it's still a great exercise. Just because I rank it a hair lower on some, don't get excited about it. All right, dumbbell pullover. This is relative to the impact on the chest. So progression opportunity, the dumbbell pullover, it's definitely not a 1. It's more like a 1.5. So can I give you a 1.5 here and not mess up my formula? Probably. Complexity, it's not a complex exercise, but it can be a pain in the butt to get the right feel when it comes to a dumbbell pullover. So I'm going to put a 2. Availability, as long as you have a bench and you have a dumbbell, you're good to go. Whoops, we forgot to put overall impact here. I'm going to put 2.5s for some of these. And, instead of just putting 2s, we might put some 2.5s here. So progression is more like a 2.5 for inclines. Availability, 2.5. Enjoyment, 2.5, and efficiency. That way we have a little bit more leg room and we can be a little bit more fair and balanced. Complexity, availability, pretty much you can do that lift anywhere. Impact, is this a really impactful exercise for chest growth? Well, 1 would be no, not much at all. I'm going to put a 1.5 here. Punishment, not a punishing exercise unless you have some sort of sometimes this can be a little bit grindy on the shoulders. I'm just going to drop it just a hair from 3 for that possible scenario. Enjoyment. Do I see a lot of people enjoying this for chest growth? We're looking at chest specifically. No. Efficiency. Do I think this is an efficient chest builder? No. All right, the old dumbbell fly, the classic dumbbell fly. Progression, not a bare minimum, but not the greatest. Now, complexity, I think this is a harder exercise to master. Not dramatically so, but I think learning to find the little nuances so it doesn't tear up your shoulder. When I'm doing a dumbbell fly, I don't have my elbows flared out. I have them dropped a little bit. And I'm kind of going from the lower to the higher position. So, I'd probably say 2. Availability. Yeah, obviously this is something you can do pretty much anywhere with light dumbbells. Impact, I'm going to put a 1.5. I don't think it's the greatest ranked chest builder. Punishment, again, this is something working with my clients. I see a lot of people don't like this exercise because of the grinding on the shoulders for whatever reason. So we'll put a 1.5. Enjoyment, do I see a lot of people going crazy enjoying dumbbell flies? Not really. So we'll put a 1.5. And efficiency, 1.5. It's a fine exercise, but it's kind of more of a last tier exercise. So, it's not the greatest chest exercise. It's a good one to put at the end of your program. All right. So what do we have here? We have the incline dumbbell fly and the decline dumbbell fly. So progression is going to be about the same on both of these, not dramatically different. Complexity, not complex. The decline dumbbell, I'm going to drop that a notch just because setup can be a lot more challenging depending on what you have available at your home or commercial gym. Availability, incline dumbbell fly pretty much everywhere. The decline dumbbell fly, you really have to have the right setup. So I'm going to list availability at 1. Again, it's just because not everyone has the right setup to do it. Impact, same for the flies, nothing dramatic. Punishment, about the same. They're all pretty much equal. The fly exercises. Enjoyment, do I see a lot of people just a notch below the regular fly on these variations? And efficiency, pretty much the same. I'm going to rank the decline fly a little bit lower just because the setup and a little bit more challenging to learn. So there you have it so far. Now the regular bench press progression, definitely a 3. Complexity, the bench press isn't a complex compound movement to learn. You lay on the bench, you control the weight down, not complex. Availability, 3. Definitely an impactful lift. Punishing, over the long run, it can be a very punishing lift, or a lift that has a tendency to be punishing, because a lot of people don't dial things in correctly. They're bouncing it off their chest. They're going too heavy, going too low, doing too much volume. So just a hair below a 3 on the punishment level. Enjoyment, definitely generally a 3. And efficiency for chest development, a 3. I always get a good amount of chest soreness and stimulation from both the bench and the dumbbell. So we're going to move on to the incline and the decline. Both of these have a pretty good progression opportunity. I would say they're slightly, for the average lifter, below a 3, just because, on the decline bench, you're in the gym. I think it's more essential that you find a spotter. I don't see a lot of people getting really big and strong on the declines. I see some getting big and strong on the inclines, but not quite as much. And we're doing this in a relative sense. So if you really want to get crazy with the inclines, we're just talking nuance here. Complexity, not complex, but one of the issues is a lot of the bench stations at commercial gyms have kind of a higher angle, which doesn't make it, the best. So sometimes getting the right angle is a pain. Just so we'll rate it just a hair lower on the complexity standpoint. The decline bench, not a complex lift, but again, the setup can be a little bit tricky. So we'll drop that a notch. Availability, I'm going to rank that as a 2, and I'm going to rank this as a 1.5. Not a lot of locations have the decline bench set up, not as many as you'd like to see, with kind of the foot dealy wheelies. Impact, overall impact, fine lifts, just a hair below bench for that reason, but nothing dramatic. Punishment, that's a good question. I'm going to rate those probably, I don't know, probably the same as bench. I mean, I don't see a lot of people killing themselves on declines. It's more of a complementary lift over the years. So I don't know. I'm really struggling here. I'm going to put it just a notch higher than bench, because it is kind of a secondary lift, and it's, people aren't getting as aggressive on it as as the bench press. So enjoyments, incline's not bad. I don't see as many people liking the decline. And what do we got here? Efficiency. I think incline's a really good chest builder. I think decline is as well, but because of the positioning, I think it's good on the lower chest. So let's just put that there. You can see, even though these are my opinions, and, we were not trying to start wars or nitpick, something might be a half point different on bench or incline bench, let's not go to war over it. This is just rating stuff for fun to kind of figure out, the different variables and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. All right, progression on the pec deck. That's about a 2. It's not bad. Let's look at the cable crossover. Progression is usually a 1 on the cable crossovers. You might get a gym where it's a 1.5. complexity, pec deck. I would say it's not, I mean, there's a little bit of nuance to these lifts. You have to make sure you're not just bringing your hands together and clapping like the clapping toy monkey, right? You have to focus on driving your elbows together towards the center of your body. And when you do that, you can feel that chest contraction. And I don't think a lot of people that are doing the exercise have that dialed in. So I think it's an exercise that, as far as complexity, there's a little bit of nuance to it. If the dumbbell bench you can lay down, just easily do. I'm going to rate the pec deck and the cable crossover and these as a 2. A little bit more complex to learn. Availability, pec deck, nearly, most commercial gyms have it, and most commercial gyms have availability to the cable crossovers. All right, impact. Pec deck is probably a 2. It's a good second tier exercise. Cable cross, I'm going to put these as a 1. I just think they're low impact. They're one of my least favorite exercises. A lot of times in the commercial gyms, they just don't have a good feel. There's not a lot of progression opportunity. I don't think they're an impactful exercise. Mileage may vary. Punishing, I don't think the pec deck is really punishing at all. But for some people, you can get a little bit of shoulder grinding action, so hair below a 3. Same thing really with the cable crossover, not really punishing as such, but in some cases, it doesn't feel good on the shoulders. Enjoyment, I'd say that's about a 2. And the cable crossover, there's a lot of people that like it, but certainly not as much as the old bench press. Efficiency. Okay, so efficiency on the pec deck. I think it's a pretty efficient exercise for targeting the chest. I don't with the cable crossovers. So let's move on here to the hammer strength bench. I think that is a pretty good progression opportunity. Can't complain with that. Complexity, not complex to learn. Availability, most commercial gyms have a machine like this. Impact, I think this is a pretty impactful lift. I don't think this is a punishing lift at all. But at the bottom in the hole, some of these can be really hard to get out of the hole without placing a little bit of extra stress on the shoulders. Most people enjoy these to a reasonable degree. And the efficiency, I'd say this is a 2. This is a good second tier exercise. Now, this one's probably going to be harder to rate, the chest dip. So we will, progression. I think there's a big progression opportunity here. But for the average individual, there are some limitations. It can be harder to do because of body weight. So I'm going to drop that just below, a hair below than bench. Complexity, I think this can be a more nuanced lift than the bench press. You have to, it's an easy one to cheat. It's an easy one to ego lift. You have to kind of get your knees back behind your shoulders a little bit. You have to lock in so the body isn't swaying. You have to really focus on control. I think it's a more nuanced lift than just laying down on the bench and doing the dumbbell bench. Availability, most gyms have this. Home gym, sometimes not as much. Impact on the chest, I'd probably put about, I don't know, this is a difficult one. It really, really is, because I think it's a good chest builder. I don't think it's the biggest hitter. I think you get a lot of triceps in the mix. So still a great exercise. I'm going to drop that a hair below. Punishment, I think this can be a punishing lift. I think it can be a punishing lift because once you start adding weight, it can become very, very challenging. It can be stressful on the shoulders. Enjoyment, a lot of people enjoy it. And efficiency, well, this is a hard one, and somebody might hate me, but I think because of the stress on the triceps, it's a good overall upper body exercise, but we're looking at chest specifically here. So I think still a quality exercise, but from an efficiency standpoint, A little bit down there. Dumbbell crush press. Now we're getting into some of the more wacky, weird exercises. The dumbbell crush press progression. That's where you're laying down and you're pressing two dumbbells together. Maybe a 1 1/4. I don't know. Complexity. Two. I mean, there is a little bit of complexity to it, but not overly so. I mean, because you can't always find the right type of dumbbells to press together as a two, same thing. Availability, not always the right type of dumbbells. Impact, very low impact on the chest. Growth, definitely a bottom tier exercise. Punishment, not really punishing, but it can feel a little bit weird at times. Enjoyment, I don't know many people that enjoy this. And efficiency of 1. So hammer strength incline. We have the hammer strength bench. I'm going to bring these numbers over and we'll put those in the incline and adjust them a little bit. Progression, pretty much the same. Complexity, not complex. Availability, not all gyms have the incline. I don't know. I might even drop that to, we'll leave that at 2. Impact about a 2. Punishment the same. Enjoyment the same. And efficiency the same. So good. Push-ups. Now we're talking just straight push-ups. Do we have weighted push-ups in the list? We're going to use this as kind of a weighted push-up where you can use a backpack or add a little bit of weight if possible. Progression opportunity, not always the easiest to progress on. You can progress in reps. Complexity, there is a minor degree of complexity. We can't just drop down to the ground like everybody and knock out rapid reps. If we want good chest feel, we have to control ourselves down, and when we're pressing, kind of feel the chest work. So it's a little bit more complex and nuanced than a lot of people do. Let's see, availability, you can do that anywhere. Impact, definitely better than a cable crossover. Punishment, a lot of people can turn these into a punishing lift. A body weight, you have to be a little bit more controlled than you would think, a little bit more focused. Enjoyment, mid-range, and efficiency. It's not the greatest chest builder. It's not the easiest to overload. Feet elevated push-ups. Progression, a little bit harder to progress. If you're putting a backpack or weight on your belt, it makes it a little bit more challenging. Complexity, 2. Availability, anywhere. Impact, a hair above the push-up. No, I don't know. It's about the same. Close enough. Punishment, about the same. Enjoyment, a little bit lower than the push-up. And efficiency, about the same. So we're about 20 exercises in. We have about 30 to go. Thank you guys for hanging tough. I'm going to copy these columns over here. We're going to bring them down here just so we can keep an eye on things. Let's work up a little bit, shall we? Progression on the machine chest press. We're talking about just general machine chest presses. Generally about a 2. Some of them are a little bit higher, maybe 2 1/4. Some of them are limiting. Complexity, not complex to figure out. The machine chest press. Availability, not all gyms have the equipment. Overall impact, average, solid. Punishment, sometimes these can be grindy on the shoulders if you're not careful. Enjoyment, a lot of people tend to enjoy these types of this type of chest exercise. And efficiency, about mid-range, nothing bad. Machine incline chest press, progression about the same. Complexity, not complex. Availability, a little bit lower than the regular chest press. Impact at 2. Punishment, 2.5. Enjoyment, I would say that's about the same. I enjoy it. I don't know about you guys. And efficiency at 2. Plate loaded incline and bench press. These have a really good progression opportunity. I'm going to put those a little bit higher. I'm tempted to put those at 2.75. Just give them a little bit of an extra nudgy wudgy here. I think I will. Complexity, not complex to set up, but there is a little bit of nuance trying to get under the plate loaded bench and get the right positioning and feel and consistency. Availability, you don't really, this is a lower availability type of exercise. Impact, I think this is a really impactful exercise. So we'll rate it a little bit higher than the machine chest press. Punishment, I wouldn't say it's, super punishing. Pretty mild. I don't know. If we rated dumbbell bench a 3, we'd probably rate this a 3. And enjoyment, I don't know. I really enjoy it. I don't know that a lot of people enjoy it. I never have to fight over this station. And efficiency, I think this is a really, really efficient chest builder. So we'll put that there. Let's hop up here to like the guillotine. No, the Spoto bench. The Spoto bench is something I've used a lot over the years, where you leave the bar 2, 3, 4 inches, 2, 3 inches off the chest. Saves the shoulder a little bit. It is a good chest builder, despite the reactionary nonsense you get on social media. You have a really strong progression opportunity. Complexity, it's not super complex. We rated the bench press to complexity a 3. You just basically get under it and press. Maybe a hair more complex because you have to learn to stop it a little bit lower. Availability, that's pretty much a 3. Impact, I think this is highly impactful. Punishing, slightly punishing. Any big, huge monster bench press movement can be slightly punishing. I don't think a lot of people enjoy this at all. I think in the commercial gym, that's a little bit on the lower end of the scale. And I think a lot of people are hesitant to do it because you don't stop it on your chest. Efficiency, I think this is a very efficient chest builder, maybe just a slight notch below the bench. Pause bench, progression, definitely a 3. We have paused incline, slightly lower, and paused decline, slightly lower. Complexity, I don't know. What do we rank our bench press up here? Incline bench was a 2.5 and a 2.5 for decline. We'll just rank that slightly. I don't know. These aren't super complex. If you can master the bench, you're good to go. Availability, pretty much, you can do the incline anywhere. We rated those 2.5 and, availability to, because of the setup, the angle, some of the angle is too high. What do we do here? Pause bench, pause incline, that's complexity, 2.5. Availability, pretty much anywhere on the pause bench. And harder to find an incline station that's at the perfect angle. And the pause decline, 1.5. What do we rate the decline up here? I forget what I'm doing. Right, I want to be consistent. 1.5. So, all right, impact. The pause bench is definitely a 3. Paused incline, very impactful. Pause decline, very impactful. Punishments, not. Benches are always going to be a little bit punishing. So, we'll rate these all about the same. And enjoyment, pause bench, a little bit lower than regular bench. I don't see a lot of people enjoying the paused inclines. Oops, 1.5. We don't want to do 16. And I really don't see anybody doing the paused declines. And we have efficiency. I think the pause bench is efficient bench builder and chest builder. And I think on the incline, because of the angle and hanging it a little bit over your chest, it's still a good exercise, but I would drop that a little bit. And on the pause decline, you're going to get some chest activation out of it. We leave that as a 2. Now we got some weird, wacky ring flies progression. I don't know. You can put a backpack on it, 1.5. Same with the TRX fly. Complexity. I think learning to do these without beating up your shoulders is a little bit more challenging, so I think it's a little bit more complex than just doing a regular push-up. Availability, definitely low on the availability scale. Not a lot of places have this, especially commercial gyms. Your home gym definitely unlikely you have that. Impact. This is a ring fly, right? So you're flying out on a TRX fly. Overall, about a 1.5. I think they're quality exercises if they don't beat you up. I do think they're punishing, more on the punishing end of things can be. That doesn't mean you can't see a lot of people get really strong on them, inefficient with them. Enjoyment, more on the 1, and efficiency, I don't know, 1.25. We're splitting hairs here. So, all right, bench press with chains and bands. Bench press with chains and bands. Definitely a good bench builder. Efficiently build the old chest. Good progression opportunity. Very efficient when it comes to hitting the chest. Complexity. Learning it's a little bit more complex. Getting the setup right, it's a little bit more complex. Availability, very, very low. Impact, very impactful on the chest overall. Punishing, no more than a regular bench, I would say. And enjoyments, it's not a high enjoyment exercise. I don't know. I enjoy chains a little bit more than bands. So let's fly on here with the chain fly. The chain fly is a fun and kind of old school, hardcore exercise you don't see many people doing. You do have a decent progression opportunity, but not spectacular because it is a fly movement. What do we put for the regular fly? We put a 1.5 and then a 2 for complexity. It's about the same as far as complexity. Availability 1, impact 1.5. Punishing, what do we put for the regular flies? We put about a 1.5. Enjoyment, I would rather do these than regular flies, I'll tell you that much. And efficiency. For the regular flies, we put about a 1.5. We'll give this about a 1.5 as well. Regarding efficiency, 1.5, we put it in the wrong category. All right, the standing Sven press, super controversial lift. You're basically pressing 2 plates together or pushing your hands on one plate and pushing it forward. This is one of these ganky exercises. I think it's just a piece of crap, to be honest with you. You can have a minor progression opportunity. Complexity, it's not overly complex to learn, but there is some nuance to it. Availability, you can pretty much do it anywhere. It's getting some high marks here because of that. But impact 1, not a punishing lift. Enjoyment 1 and efficiency 1. So, I don't know. It landed above the chain fly because you can do it anywhere, but I don't think that's a bonus in this case. So you can see some of these ratings are rather random and more nuanced than what I'm putting together. The incline machine, a regular machine chest press, incline 2, complexity not very complex, but put that 2.75. Availability 2, impact 2. Punishment can be some minor punishment on the shoulders if the setup isn't correct. Enjoyment 2 and efficiency 2. Universal, there's not a lot of universal machines anymore. 1.5 for impact, not very complex. and a progression maybe about 2. I don't remember. Punishment, I wouldn't say this is overly punishing. Enjoyment, a 1, and efficiency, I don't know. I think you can get some decent value out of it. And a regular machine bench press, progression 2. Complexity, not very complex. Excuse me. Whoops. I'm going to put that at 2.5. Availability, not all gyms have the same type of equipment. This is a little bit different. These are basically machine bench presses that are not hammer press. Impact 2, punishment, not very punishing. Enjoyment 2, and efficiency 2. So we have, we have some of the center stuff to go here. And we have, I don't know if I can copy this, copy. Let's see if this blows up my system here. 1 row above, paste. Okay, we'll put that in there so we can see these a little bit better. The ring chest dip. So that has a pretty decent progression opportunity. I would say this is more complex to learn, more nuanced. Availability 1. Impact, I think it could be a 2. Punishment, I think it can be very punishing if not done right or take a little bit of time to figure out. Enjoyment, you don't see a lot of people doing it. And efficiency, about a 2. What did I put for regular dips as far as efficiency? 1.75. We'll give it about a 1.5 just because it's a little bit more unstable. The TRX push-up. You can do a push-up on the TRX. There can be some progression opportunity here. I don't know. We'll put 1.5. Complexity. This can take a little bit to figure out and get right and not get all shaky and get in the right position. Availability 1. Impacts, I don't know, 1.5, 1.25, not the overall punishment. This can be semi-punishing. Enjoyment 1, and I don't think it's a very, very efficient exercise. It's okay. When I say it's not efficient, it's all right as like a last tier exercise. None of these, other than like the Sven press, I would rule out completely. But, like when I'm talking smack on like the TRX push-ups, so to speak, doesn't mean you can't do it fourth. You can. I mean, we want to look at weekly overall impact. You want 3 or 4 quality exercises a week. And it could certainly be something that's slotted in last. All right, Smith machine bench, good progression opportunity. Smith machine incline, pretty much the same. I would say a hair lower. Complexity, getting things set up a little bit and nuanced and getting the bench in the same position and so your arms aren't flared, a little bit more complex than a regular bench. Availability is about average. Most commercial gyms have it, but not all. Impact, I think this is a solid, impactful lift, like a good second level lift, and that is a compliment. They can be slightly punishing if because it's a static bar position, because your hands are neutral. It can be slightly more punishing, but not devastatingly so. 2 mid-range for enjoyment. And I think this is a semi-efficient chest builder. Excuse me. Alternating dumbbell bench. This is an exercise you don't see a lot of people doing. You grab your dumbbells like you can do a bench press, but you alternate between the left and right. Very solid progression opportunity here. I think this can be a semi-complex lift, but not overly so. Availability, you can pretty much do this anywhere. You have a bench. I think this is a pretty impactful lift. I don't think this is a super punishing lift on the dumbbell bench. It is slightly more nuanced than a dumbbell bench. Not a lot of people enjoy this, but I do think this is an efficient lift nonetheless. The barrel press, a little bit different than the fly. I've been using this a lot in the last year with my clients. The barrel press, you have your palms more facing one another, and your elbows aren't equal to your shoulders. They're a hair lower, but you keep your wrists above your elbows and pull it down like this. You can see elbows lower than the shoulders until you get a slight chest stretch, and then you punch it straight up. You don't fly in. I think the bench press is an underrated exercise. It does have a pretty good progression opportunity. A lot of my strong clients are getting to about 75s on it. Not quite the level of a bench. Complexity, it's a little bit harder to learn for a lot of people, so it takes a little bit of time. You can do them pretty much anywhere. I think they're impactful, a good third level exercise. 1.75 is not an insult. Punishment, I think they can be punishing for some people on the shoulders. Enjoyments, I think they're when I give them to people, they tend to enjoy them, most people, but it's not an overly popular lift. And efficiency, I think this is a good third tier exercise. All right. Swiss bar bench, Swiss bar incline, Swiss bar decline. Because you're a more neutral position with your grip, I think this is a little bit more forgiving and less punishing than the bench. We put the bench press punishment 2.5. We're going to give this 2.75, a little bit better than the bench. And we'll do the same here on the inclines and the declines. Progression. What do we put the inclines at? We put the incline bench. Where's the incline bench? Losing track of what I'm doing here. Incline. Where'd the incline bench press go? All right. Incline dumbbell bench. We put progression and complexity at 2.5. Progression is same. It's going to be the same as that. Complexity. I don't think they're overly complex to learn. But it is a little bit more nuanced than the bench. No big deal. What do we put for complexity for decline? 2.5. We'll leave that about 2.5 just to make it about even. And availability, you don't really have availability of this in many places. So, I don't know. Pretty rare. Impact, I think these are very impactful lifts, slightly below. And enjoyments, a lot of people that do these enjoy them. I don't know. This is a tough one too. 2.25. I'd raise that a little bit. A lot of people still like the bench press more. I don't see a lot of people enjoying the declines, and certainly not this variation. Efficiency, I think it's a great chest builder. I think this is a hair below bench. And I think it's a reasonably efficient on the decline. All right, the floor bench, we're almost done. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. I hope this has some value. The floor bench has big progression opportunity. The pin bench has a big progression opportunity. Complexity, a little bit more complex to set up and replicate. The pin bench, even more so. You just have to get under the right position every time, starting in the hole like that. Not always the easiest, but you can pretty much do it in many, many gyms. But some places just don't have the right setup, so I'll give the floor bench a 2 for availability. Pin bench, not all bench setups have the catch pins properly structured, so I'll put that a little bit lower. Impact, I think the floor bench is pretty impactful. I think the pin bench is as well. Let me put those at 2.25. Or we'll put those at 2.5. I think they're pretty impactful lifts. I don't know what I got going on here. Punishment, pretty much the same as a bench press. I think the pin bench is a little bit more punishing because you can't always start in that perfect position. Out of the hole, there can be a little bit of extra stress because you're finding that groove out of the hole and you're starting a little bit loose. Floor bench, these aren't the most enjoyed and practiced lifts. Efficiency, I think they're good chest builders. They're good chest builders. We'll put a hair below. Just because you're starting a little bit off the chest. Now, the 1.5 bench is where you bring it down, go halfway up, bring it down, and then go all the way up. You have a pretty decent progression opportunity here. It's an exercise not a lot of people do. Complexity takes a little bit to figure out this exercise. Availability, you can pretty much do it anywhere. You have a barbell and a bench. Impact, I think this is a solid chest builder, and it's pretty darn intense. Punishment, not as punishing as a bench because you're not going as heavy. Enjoyments, I don't know. Not a lot of people really enjoy this exercise. I think it is still a quality, efficient chest builder. And we have a few left here. Lying bench cable fly, very little progression opportunity. Lying incline cable fly, complexity. There's a little bit setting, availability, setup. I don't know. This is not always the easiest to set up and get correct in the commercial gym. I guess you can do a lying bench cable fly in a regular commercial gym. Incline, probably a little bit more challenging. You could still do them, right? I'm being too harsh. Impact, not a lot. I don't think cable flies are the greatest. I'd rather do a dumbbell fly. Punishing, they can be a little bit punishing on the shoulders. Not my favorite movement. Enjoyment, bonk, bonk. Not a lot of people doing them. Efficiency, bonk, bonk. All right, we got 3 exercises left. The reverse grip bench press. If you can do it, it's a progression opportunity of a 3. Complexity, far more complex than a regular bench press. The availability you can do wherever. Impact. I feel it's a good supplementary exercise to the bench press. Punishing, I think it can punish the wrists a little bit more. I think it's a more punishing movement. Enjoyment, those that do it, but it's just not a very easy exercise to set up. Not a lot of people enjoy it. Whoops, we're not going to put a date in here. We're going to put 1. And efficiency, about a 2. Guillotine bench press. We're going to end with the guillotine bench and the guillotine Smith. This is a good chest builder if you do it right. It has a 2 as far as progression opportunity. Complexity, it is a complex movement to figure out. You have to get it right. You just can't arbitrarily try to take it super deep and tear up your shoulders. You can pretty much do this anywhere on the bench, on the Smith, if you have access to a Smith. Impact, I think these are decent mid-range exercises. They're like a barrel press. You can get a good stretch on the chest at the bottom. You can focus more on the chest. These can be punishing movements if not done correctly. So we're going to put 1.5. Not a lot of people enjoy them, so we're going to drop that at maybe a 1. We'll put that 1 to be fair. No bias. And efficiency, I think they are a good 3rd exercise. So, guys, I think we have all of our exercises ranked. We're about 45 minutes in. Let's look at a few things. And again, I'm just rushing through this, giving you my off-the-cuff opinions. And going back, if I had like hours and hours to create a more efficient structure, I probably would add in a couple variables so the Sven press wouldn't get a high of a rating. But we can see the dumbbell. Let's look at anything, really above 18. We have the dumbbell bench, the incline dumbbell bench. We have the bench press. We're looking at above 18 here. And the Spoto bench, I got up there. I do think it's a quality movement. Now let's look at like 16 and above. Okay, those would be maybe second tier. First, really want to consider these the first tier. 16 and above, maybe second. When I say second tier, like a second level, we'll go 16 or above, a good second choice. Still a quality builder. Hammer strength bench, hammer strength incline. And let's see, we're going 16 and above, alternating dumbbell bench, Swiss bar bench, and Swiss bar inclines. And you have the old floor bench, a roux. What do we got here? The pause bench. That should have been up in the blue category. Let's see, what else do we have here? We have these guys. So right there, you have some good first and second choices, not trying to create rules. What's the lowest of the low? The flies are hard enough. The decline dumbbell fly, definitely. We'll put a red flag there. Probably not exercises. With all the exercises in the list, there's really no reason to do some of these. The crush press, absolutely forget about it. Flush it away. The TRX push-up, of all the lifts you could do, unless you're desperate in the home gym, I wouldn't. And the line cable fly, what are you putting the bench in there and all? It's just nonsense. It's too much to set up. There's some people that can really, really get a lot of value out of the ring and TRX fly, but you're taking a fly and you're making it more unstable, not a fan. So those are exercises I would completely avoid. All these others, I would consider third or fourth tier. You could work those in after you have your big hitters in the mix. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. Do you like the list? Did you find some value with this? Did you learn anything? Let me know, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.